In the last 10 years, social media has become a huge part of our daily lives, especially for young people like us. Apps like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat influence how we communicate, how we see ourselves, and even how we think about others. For many people, checking social media is one of the first things they do in the morning and the last things they do at night. Even though social media can be entertaining and useful, it has also created problems related to mental health, like anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. For example, many teenagers feel pressure to always look perfect or have an exciting life, even if it's not that real. Because of this, organizations and researchers have started to warn about its negative effects, especially in adolescents like us. So we as a team believe that social media has a mostly negative impact on the mental health of young people, and that its use should be more controlled and more conscious. To understand this better, Santiago will explain one of the main problems about social media.
One of the biggest problems with social media is how it affects self-esteem. Many young people compare themselves to what they see online, like perfect bodies, expensive lifestyles, or ideal lives. The problem is that most of what we see is edited, filtered, or exaggerated, but people still compare themselves to it as if it were real. This creates pressure and makes people feel like they are not good enough. Over time, this can seriously affect confidence and self-image. A report by the Social Society for Public Health found that social media, especially platforms like Instagram, is linked to lower self-esteem and body image issues in young people.
Some people say that social media actually helps with the self-expression and allows people to find communities where they feel accepted, especially if they feel different or isolated in real life. While that can be true, most of the time people are not using social media in that positive way. Instead, they spend hours scrolling and comparing themselves to others, also, which can make their self-worth depend on other people's opinions. Because of this, the negative effects on self-esteem are usually stronger than the positive ones. Now, Andres will explain another important impact related to mental health.
Another important issue is how social media increases anxiety and depression. Things like notifications, likes, and comments can make people depend on validation from others. This creates a constant need to check their phone and see how others react to what they post. Also, the fear of missing out, or as we know it as FOMO, makes people feel like they always have to be connected and updated. When they see others having fun or being successful, they may feel like they're falling behind. Some argue that social media helps people stay connected and reduces loneliness, especially when physical interaction is not possible. However, online friendships and interactions are not the same as real-life connections. Real conversations and relationships are deeper and more meaningful. In a lot of cases, spending too much time online replaces real interaction, which can actually increase feelings of loneliness instead of reducing them. Another big problem is that social media creates a cycle of dependency. The more time people spend on it, the more they feel the need of continue using it. This can affect concentration, productivity, and even sleep, which are all very important for mental health in every single human. From a philosophical point of view, John Stuart Mill argued that actions are morally good if they promote the greatest happiness. If social media is generating more anxiety, insecurity, and emotional dependence than well-being, then its current use becomes ethically questionable. At the same time, Aristotle emphasized the importance of balance and moderation. Using social media excessively shows a lack of this balance, which leads to negative consequences like the ones we mentioned. This means that the problem is not only social, but also ethical, because it affects people's well-being.
In conclusion, even though social media has some positive aspects, its overall impact on the mental health of young people has moved negatively in the last decade. It affects self-esteem, increases anxiety, and changes the way people see themselves and others. Also, it creates pressure, dependency, and unrealistic expectations that can seriously affect emotional well-being. For this reason, we think it's important to promote more responsible use, better awareness, and possibly some limits for the younger people. For example, people can reduce screen time, avoid comparing themselves to others, and focus more on real life and interactions. So, social media is not completely bad, but without control and balance, it can seriously affect mental health. That is why it is important to use it in a more conscious and responsible way.